trying to control how you get the news. Then backlash. Days after being accused of lying about Harvey, Affleck apologizes over a wild video. But it may not be what it looks like. Chadwick Boseman on making history as superhero Black Panther and real-life American hero Thurgood Marshall. Plus, country music legend and Grammy Lifetime Achievement winner Charlie Pride's performing live. Let's go! Let's fire up Hot Topics with Whoopi, Sarah Haynes, Joy Behar, Sunny Hostin, and Meghan McCain. Now, let's get things started.
The current White House resident is back on his war with the media, tweeting that news is so fake. So fake.
So fake.
So fake. It sounds like something you take for, like, gas.
So fake?
What do you have? Oh, I have so fake. So fake that licenses must be challenged and even revoked. And he continued his rant to Sean Hannity last night. Take a look.
Media is bad. They're really dishonest people. These are very, very dishonest people. In many cases, and not all. Look, I know some reporters, I know some journalists that are phenomenal people and very straight, very honest. But when you're the one being written about, you know if it's good or bad, and it's always, they try and make it negative. So the media has turned that, I call it fake media. It's fake. It's so much fake news.
From the king of fake news comes the fact that there's fakery out there. So is he saying basically he wants to silence critics?
Yeah, he would like to invoke some kind of law to stop the media. He loves the Second Amendment. He hates the First Amendment, apparently. So we'd have to shut down Breitbart and Fox News also then. And so we'll only listen to you, Donald.
Well, and I think he also, he's missing one glaring point that jumps out at me, that media isn't a political bias. They don't have a political bias. They have a ratings bias. And if you speak in headlines, which he has done, and that's what he prides his base on understanding more than anyone else, if you're going to use that when it serves you to say sensational things to get everyone's attention, and then the media runs with that, you're going to continue to dominate coverage with the tweets and some of the things you say, rather than the other substantial stuff you claim you're talking about that isn't quite as salacious.
You know what? What's interesting is that he's calling for licenses to be pulled, and the FCC doesn't even license cable channels, so it's sort of a non-issue. It's nothing that can really happen. But I think he thinks that the Republican that he has put in place there, Ajit Pai, I have a lot of friends that work at the FCC, will somehow be in his corner on this. But what he doesn't understand is that Pai at the FCC is an FCC lifer, and he knows very well that the First Amendment and freedom of speech, and that you really can't do what the president is suggesting. And in fact, he just said last month that he sees worrying signs at the FCC, pointing to Twitter messages in which people regularly demand that the FCC yank license from cable news channels because they disagree with the opinions expressed on those networks. And then he goes on to say, listen, these demands are at odds with our legal and cultural traditions. So it's never going to happen.
What happened to just having conversations rather than shutting down someone that disagrees with you?
Yeah.
Well, like, that's not winning, that's quitting.
Yeah, it is quitting.
Those days are long gone. And let me tell you, when I see this, and obviously the fake news siren song, it has read me to his base. His supporters love it. 50% of Republicans think the press has too much freedom. We see on the opposite side how much that in recent polling, we see on the opposite side, I did a lot of work and have spoken out a lot about the conservatives coming to college campuses and being shut down. And I think on both sides you see sort of an aversion and breaking down of the First Amendment. And I think both sides are equal. This I don't see actually happening.
Yeah.
Just let me finish. But I will say this is about the culture war in America. And to a lot of Republicans that will only watch Fox News because anything that's not super hyper Trump.
What do you mean by the culture war?
Because
What do you mean by that?
Well, I mean that I'm talking about how conservatives feel like the fake news, fake media doesn't represent them, doesn't understand them. I mean, you can take culture war tests online where some of the questions include, do you have a family member in the military? Have you ever been to a NASCAR game? Do you own a gun?
But there have to be two sides to a war. So you're talking about conservatives
I think that there's also
feeling a certain
a war.
way.
I also think there's on both sides equally in this country, and I do not think President Trump would have been elected without it.
But the base that you're talking about, that basically what
Around
you're saying is they
36%
think
of the
that the
country.
freedom has too much. The media has too much freedom.
And they think
those same people believe that people with guns do not have enough freedom. We need more and more guns.
Yeah.
But you know, I remember when I was a kid, it used to be sticks and stones can hurt your bones, but words will never harm you.
Yeah.
However it went.
But I think
My point being that the First Amendment is still safe. Guns are not. And yet there's an irrational thing going on in this country that it's okay to have as many guns as you want, no matter how many bullets they can shoot, but the press cannot have that many words.
well, I don't. Again, I think that this is just all.
Thank you, Sonny.
I mean, that's an excellent point. I mean, doesn't the Constitution, constitutionalists
I would like to give a
support the
shout out
entire
to Senator Ben
Constitution?
Sasse, by the way, who has protected this. And by the way, he, to me, is the future of the Republican Party. And he said, Mr. President, words spoken by the President of the United States matter. Are you tonight recanting the oath you took on January 20th to preserve, to protect, and defend the First Amendment? Because traditionally, conservatives defend the Constitution for hell and high water. So this is a highly unusual attack. I don't think there's any legitimacy to it. I don't think this will actually happen because, as you rightly pointed out, it would start affecting media, conservative media circles as well. But just know this is what his base loves. It's what riles them up. It's what gins him up. I think there's some concern.
But when Nixon tried this in
His base does.
1973,
But the Republican Party's fractured.
when the Washington Post was going after him for the Watergate scandal, he tried this against the Washington Post, and you see what happened there. He had to resign. He was forced to resign. So watch it.
What scares me about the base, though, is like the story he was specifically talking about had 3 sources. They happen to be anonymous. But in media, in journalism, you have to multi-source your story. So even if it's anonymous, you do have to get it checked multiple times. When he tweets, he doesn't have to check it with anyone. So he goes to his base, who he said, don't trust the media, don't check anywhere else because they're lying to you. But right here, I'm telling you the truth. And then he speaks with misinformation about this. So I think that's dangerous.
The annoying thing for me
has had to fire
is that
journalists for misreporting and not checking.
But they did fire him. He's still president.
Yeah.
There you go.
There's no way to regulate him. Listen, my job here is to try and explain what's going on. My job here is to try and explain what's going on
No, I
in the
understand.
culture
I just
war.
find that it's duplicitous for him to call out the irresponsibility of a massive group that he's painting with one broad stroke, the media, when he overly doesn't have to source anything. He doesn't have to check anything and says things
he's
that
the
aren't
king
true.
of fake media. It started, he got elected and introduced himself as a candidate to people by saying Barack Obama wasn't born in America.
Yeah.
Let's start with that.
That's the whole thing.
You know, that, I mean...
But I will say that I've been a direct person who he attacked when I worked at Fox. He said, Meghan McCain's terrible. They should fire her. And I remember being so confused at the time because it was really early on before he had become the nominee. And I was like, oh, I was just being critical of his campaign thus far. So it really is anything that just isn't
You should feel honored.
Oh, now, I mean, I don't... But now there's thousands of people.
But regarding the point you just made, that he started it, he also started with the fake news way back, because this is my theory. He knows he's guilty with the Russia investigation. This is a way to inoculate his base, to say, don't believe it when it comes out, that I was in bed with the Russians, that I colluded, that I obstructed. Don't believe it. So that he'll have some people on his side. He's been doing this months and months
Believe that
and
we're
months.
going to break right now. Believe that. Believe that we're going to break.
Still ahead, Hillary's hypocrisy, why Clinton's getting blasted for the way she's handling the Weinstein scandal.
Come on!
You know this is the only place in daytime dishing out the hottest topics.
Give me some credit. I'm the top chick.
This is why you need women running the world.
People want change.
You're right. You're right.
Oh, joy!
That went too far, I guess.
So grab The View on ABC.
Hey.
Still ahead, Marshall star Chadwick Boseman.
Thurgood Marshall with the NAACP.
And country icon Charlie Pride performs live.
So Rose McGowan has been one of the loudest whistleblowers in the Weinstein scandal, especially on Twitter. But yesterday, she had to switch to Instagram to let people know that her Twitter had been suspended. Now, her account, and added their powerful forces at work. Be my voice. Don't let them do this. What? I mean, we've seen insanity coming out of Twitter, like in the craziest places, from the guy who's in office now to neo-Nazis to crazy. What did she say that freaked everybody out?
Do we know? Do you know, Megan?
No, but I know that social media is used as an ISIS recruiting tool. As you said, Nazis, Russian bots, harassment, bullying is never shut down, but all of a sudden she's being censored. I was quite angered at this. I need more clarity. I think Jack Dorsey and people in social media need to start taking more responsibility for the censorship that they choose to exercise when they do it. I feel bad for her because I was very affected by some of the things she was saying, as I think we all were at this table, and she really is trying to speak out on her experiences in Hollywood and clearly has started this cultural shift against Harvey Weinstein.
I think they said she was harassing somebody too much, or saying too much. But I just want to point out that a few weeks ago, Trump threatened North Korea. He said might not be around much longer. That seems to me pretty egregious and should be taken off right there.
Well, they also didn't clarify which tweet. So they have proven in the past, if you accidentally put someone's contact information or something, they have the power to pull down a tweet. But they made it very ominous, almost like her whole activity of the day, because she was tweeting repetitively. So they didn't pull down a tweet or clarify to her what the tweet was. They just said you're suspended because of like a vast, you know, your behavior crosses the line into abuse, including behavior that harasses, intimidates, or uses fear to silence another. That's their general statement, you know, for...
Hey, Twitter! Have you been reading what's on Twitter?
Really?
If you're shutting her down for this, you have joined another insanity place, and maybe we all need to find another way to communicate. If this is how you're going to act, Twitter, I think people have the right to say, you know what? You're going to shut her down because she's saying, hey, this is what's happening. Hey, tell the truth. Hey, if that's what gets you shut down, I'm out, Twitter.
I think we don't, you know, I'm reluctant to comment on it because I don't really know why she was suspended because, you know, I understand if you were...
I know what she didn't say.
Yeah. We know what she didn't say. I don't know what she said that would cause her to be suspended.
That's what I'm suspicious.
I'm kind of reluctant
Russia's
to weigh in.
using social media has, I mean, I think inarguably at this point had some effect on the election in one way or another, and they still haven't been shut down. Russian bots on Twitter, huge problem in a lot of different ways.
Well, that's why this doesn't make sense. What did she say?
But that's the point. That's the point, because it couldn't have been as bad as what these folks have been saying, because they don't get shut down.
Yeah, well, and this is a bad PR move. The whole problem with sexual abuse is people are silenced. They're not speaking up. She is not anonymous. Her name is on her account.
That's ironic.
She's speaking up, and we just shut her down.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, that kind of moves against the movement.
It really is. It's something that, you know, I often say this, you know, my training in law school was you protect the most hateful speech, because if you don't do that, then the minority view and the dissenting views are the ones that generally get squelched in our society. So I'm always very, very against any sort of squelching.
But don't you, I doubt
speech.
that they shut it down because it was hate speech. I believe it was. They perceived it to be harassment of some sort.
If one person's First Amendment right is violated, all of ours
But what
are.
about the video
in
of
every context.
What about Donald Trump tweeted a video of a golf ball hitting Hillary in the head,
which was abusive.
That
was abusive.
Well, but there are countless.
There it is.
Yeah, and we should not be showing it either.
Well, we're showing it.
I noticed that.
Yeah.
But we should not have shown it because it doesn't work when he does it. It doesn't work when we do it. This is stuff we should not be giving any platform to. That's just
Well, you have to call him out.
But I think all of us sitting at this table, any person on social media, the youngest 13-year-olds, I think that's the age you're allowed on Twitter, all of us to be a woman on social media is to receive abuse, period. The producers would like me to show a tweet I responded to. A man said, Megyn has gained a lot of weight, by the way, yesterday. Is that why Fox got rid of her? And I said, you know, every morning I wake up happy. My body is healthy and strong. I don't define my worth by weight or what internet trolls think. And part of that, I mean, my father has cancer, so obviously every morning I'm happy that I'm strong and healthy, so I want to reply. But this is every woman, all of you.
Particularly horrible. I know you saw. I weighed in because I called him a Twitter thug with keyboard courage who lived in his mama's basement.
But the point, I'm not trying to be
the same guy.
But I tell that guy that because we have to, as a sisterhood, stick together. That kind of abuse is inappropriate.
But the point of it is to be all of us will receive hate, bullying, anger, things that should be, in my opinion, censored by Silicon Valley to a larger degree. And so when you're asking all of us, because you make the choice. If we're going to be on social media, you're going to get abused.
That's right.
So for a woman like Rose McGowan to say, I'm going to take this medium and I'm going to use it to speak out about the harassment and injustices I have experienced, but Silicon Valley is going to choose to shut her down, there's a lot of hypocrisy in that choice.
And that's why I say it might be time for us to make our voices known. I mean, when she says, help me here, she's saying, it's not just me this is going to happen to. It's happening to all of us, and now is the time. Now is the time. We'll be right back.
The official View store is open 24/7. So for mugs, merch, and more, go to our website, click on the store, and see how good the view looks all over you.
So welcome back. Anyone who's missing summertime, here's some really good news. Apparently, summertime is the best season for sex. You just keep making it worse.
Sorry.
Keep making it worse.
Tell us the reason.
The list says that these are the reasons why. You aren't sweaty until later. That's why it's better in the summertime.
No, better in the fall.
In the fall.
We're sweaty.
See, I do it all year long, so I don't worry about it. But in the fall, everyone smells better.
What are they sleeping with elephants?
No, or the enemy. One of the two.
When it's cold outside, you can cuddle more.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
That doesn't have to mean sex.
Not if you're in the middle of menopause, you can't. Because it's hot all season long.
Doesn't everybody have air conditioning now? Are they living
I guess not.
Where they in the Sudan?
Our air conditioning is not good. So if you're rubbing up against another hot body.
Excuse me, Exhibit A.
We got pregnant in the spring, Joy.
But what about this? It says sex sessions last longer.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Because it's not as hot outside.
Fall is more sexy though.
this one.
I mean,
There's
you
not
get
as
some more
much to do
sweaters.
outdoors, maybe. It's raining.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's like a soup and soap opera day and a sex day.
Netflix.
Too chill. Coming from the woman who has kids that can run around on their own, because the toddler thing is year round.
Did you? I just want to make sure I heard you correctly. Did you say soup and soap opera day?
Soup, sex, and soap opera.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. And does anyone work in that house? I mean, because, you know, I feel like you could have sex, soup, and soap opera in 5 minutes now, because all you have to go on your watch.
Yeah.
You'd be right there and go, hey, baby.
But come on, you know when
Oh, look at this, look at
when
this,
it's
baby.
rainy outside and it's cold.
What is...
My grandmother, right before I got married,
What did she do?
she said, when your husband comes home, say, baby, it's cold outside. And I didn't know what that meant.
And was that your accent?
No, wasn't that?
That was her accent. Baby,
Okay,
it's cold
okay.
outside.
My God.
And it's,
I don't
you
think
know,
that's
when
gonna
it's
work
cold
for me.
outside, it's warm inside.
Okay. Good. All right. We'll be right back. Technology is really getting to sci-fi levels. Amazon Alexa is being used in a murder case. A Fitbit is being used in another, and now it's reported that the new Google speakers were apparently recording people's every word and reporting it back to Google.
Really?
Now, does any of this make you look at the phone and go, I don't know about you? What do you think about this?
But I love yelling at the speaker and making it do things.
Alexa? Who, Alexa?
Yeah, she answers me sometimes when I haven't called for her.
She does do that. I love the Fitbit.
She does that, yeah.
She does.
I really like the Fitbit. I mean, I was surprised because in that Fitbit murder case, the husband was arrested for murdering his wife because he said she had been sleeping, but her Fitbit was up and going. And so they realized that his timeline was off.
That's fascinating.
So isn't that fascinating? But, I mean, you wear a Fitbit, I wear a Fitbit. We have a Fitbit challenge. By the way, Sarah Haynes, 7 months pregnant, beat my butt in the Fitbit challenge last week. She had like 15, 16,000 steps. I think you're cheating on the Fitbit challenge.
Mama's got to walk for 2 now.
I don't know. Are you sure you're not sitting doing this?
Now, why do you think she's cheating?
I think she's cheating.
Why?
Because
she beat you?
I spent so much.
She beat you?
Yes.
Okay.
No, I spent so
That's
much
all I wanted
time.
to know.
I spent so much time with her, and I don't see.
Well, she's not doing that.
I am
She's
not
not doing
doing the
that.
Fitbit challenge.
Neither am I,
I'm not.
You're not gonna
pregnant.
join us?
No, thank you. No way or another. You know, I am addicted to technology, even though I know it's killing me. And everything that they say, security-wise, I'm sure that it happens to all of you too. They say, don't log in, don't put where you're at, stop tweeting where you're at. I do it every single time, especially on vacation. I was on vacation one time and Instagrammed a picture of my boyfriend and I at the pool. And then someone came to the pool and was like, oh my gosh, you're Meghan McCain. And I was like, then he was like, I told you that could have been a murderer. He could have killed us. Like, what's going on?
My God.
You really have to be careful. I know. I'm a smart woman. I know. I do it every time.
Are you
every
addicted
single time.
to it? Are you addicted to
100%,
it?
1,000%.
A little.
Why do I have to listen to Siri and Alexa? It's enough with you 4 bitches. Not to mention the bitch in my ear. And she knows who she is.
Okay, bitch, hold up.
Joy!
Hold up. All you
Joy,
do
we're
is just
trying
hold
to
up.
find common ground, Joy.
Last night, I was at the Lupus Foundation of America's Gala.
Yes.
And I want to tell you something. This is a disease that does not care about how much money you have. It does not care about what your economic status is. None of it matters. And I'm going to put a big ask out to parents and friends and stuff. If you have children who are ill, please keep them away from the craziness of, are we going to fund helping people with their Obamacare or taking away Obamacare, whatever it is. It's hard enough if you're a kid and you're sick. It's just...
Can I just add in on this? When I spent so much time in the hospital with children with cancer, there is nothing worse in the entire world.
Yeah. So let's maybe try to bring them some positive energy and keep some of the insanity that we're seeing in our country away from them. I'm just asking. We'll be right back.
He's played iconic roles from Jackie Robinson to James Brown to Black Panther. But Chadwick Boseman reveals why he says he's playing a real superhero in the new movie Marshall next. We're feeling the heat with Friday Hot Topics.
TGIF.
And we're laughing it up with one crazy funny lady.
Crazy.
It's all happening tomorrow on The View.
It's Mattress Firm's.
Black Panther isn't the only superhero Chadwick Boseman is playing these days in the new movie Marshall. He plays the man who would become America's first black Supreme Court Justice, Thurgood Marshall. Back when he was a lawyer, fighting battles that sadly aren't over today. Take a look. Please welcome the incredible Chadwick Boseman. So, you know, this is an incredible film.
Incredible.
And Thurgood Marshall became the first black Supreme Court justice. Most people know him as the landmark desegregation case, Brown versus Board of Education. You play Marvel superheroes. You played all kinds of... So tell us what this was like playing this man?
This superhero.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's an important aspect of this because, as you said, we know him for being the first black Supreme Court justice and for Brown versus Board of Education. Everybody should know that. And if you don't, I'm coming for you.
Google it.
But the greatness of this story and why I chose to do it is because you don't know this case, which allows for a certain amount of dramatic tension because you don't know whether Joseph Spell did it or not.
Well, give us a little taste of what the case was, because I didn't explain it to the audience.
He is accused of raping a white woman. He is her black chauffeur, and Thurgood Marshall comes into town. Mainly because the stakes of this is that domestic workers throughout the country are being fired by their bosses because of this one case. And also the stakes are really high because the NAACP, if they lose this case, will lose their donors. So, this is 1941. It's pre-World War II. It's pre the heart of the civil rights movement. So if there is no NAACP as time goes along, then how does that whole section of our history actually happen? So this superhero origin story, it's a superhero origin story because it's like Thurgood Marshall coming into his own of what he's going to be. He is the only attorney at this particular time in the NAACP's history who's going around dealing with cases because their budget won't allow them to have anybody else. Later on, he's able to bring in other attorneys. And this is also the beginning of that with Sam Friedman being called on to help him with this case. Sam Friedman's played by Josh Gad, who was amazing in the movie.
It was just such a fantastic film, and we were together at the museum in D.C. I moderate a panel with you.
Great job.
Thank you. Well, not heavy lifting with you. But, it really highlighted the movie The Champion that Thurgood Marshall was. Now that you got into that,
He just had to throw it in. It's early. Thurgood Marshall was a person who liked to work behind the walls. He wanted to work behind the walls, but he definitely would respect the protest. I feel like, this is their constitutional right. I can't speak for Thurgood Marshall. I can't speak posthumously for him. But I do believe he would want the Constitution to be upheld. And, the players have the right to peaceably assemble. They have the right to petition and redress the government for its flaws against them. They have the right to freedom of speech, and the press has the right to freedom of speech. The president is supposed to uphold, preserve, and protect and defend the Constitution. If the Constitution says they have those rights, he can have an opinion about it. But
he has an opinion.
But he cannot proclaim that the owners or the players do anything because the Constitution actually says. So I think Thurgood Marshall would say that.
I agree with you.
Well, I don't want to. I saw the movie as well, and it's a must-see, especially for people that don't know. If they don't know those things, that's really important. But we also have to mention Black Panther. Yes, the movie comes out next year, and fans are freaking out. You were a Comic-Con newbie this year.
No.
Oh, you've been twice. Sorry, you've been twice. But when you're playing this beloved character and the first black superhero, what was it like to be there?
Oh, man. Well, especially this time, because the first time you're just trying to figure out what is going on. Like, people are dressed up. They're dressed up as you. Some of them are doing a pretty good job. You're like, hey, don't try to take my job now. It was amazing because we also showed a version of the trailer that nobody else saw. So it was if you came to Comic-Con, you saw this version of the trailer.
Are you going to come back for Black Panther? When it comes out?
Are you kidding me? Of course.
And when they say that the trailer can be shown, will you send it to us so we can show it too?
Oh, I'm just like, I don't know if this.
I can't
He
do
can't say
anything.
yes.
Marvel can.
But hey, Marvel, it is.
Yeah,
we work with
Marvel.
this. We all work together. Give us the trailer.
Yeah.
Our thanks to Chadwick Boseman. Marshall is in theaters starting tomorrow. Do yourself a favor. Go and see
Please
this.
go see it.
We will be right back.
Thank you.
Country music pioneer Charlie Pride is showing you why he's a Grammy Lifetime Achievement winner when he takes the stage next.
But I barely kept it together when I met Charlie Pride the night he accepted the Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award. He's the best-selling artist on RCA Records since Elvis Presley, and his new CD is called Music in My Heart. Right now,
And let her know you think about her when you're gone. Kiss an angel good morning and love her like the devil when you get back home. Lord, home.
so... Look, So, we met at the Grammy Salute to Music Legends ceremony where you were being honored with a Lifetime Achievement Award after 50 years in the music business.
And I'm only 20. Go ahead.
That's right. And you're only 22. But, I mean, 50 years in the business, 50 years really as the only man of color that I can remember singing country music.
Right.
And to get that award, what was that groove like?
Well, I tell you, first of all, it's good to be and see you. I got to say something about. Well, I'll tell you. Okay, I don't want to get. I've had so many, and it's just another one that I was so proud to get and pleased, but I think they get them mixed up. This one is the prettiest of the 3 Grammys I have, and all the others. This kind of does the trick.
Well, you were one of 11 children. Hi.
I watch y'all all the time. I'm just, see, y'all got me nervous. I mean, I don't usually get nervous, but
Don't
go
be
ahead.
nervous. I can't believe Charlie Pride knows who I am. So thank you.
He didn't say he knew who you are.
That's true. That's true. You grew up one of 11 children from a sharecropping family, and beating the odds, you became a professional baseball player.
Right.
How did you make that happen?
First of all, once you get past 18, I mean, from 18 to 25, you're not in the majors. See, they didn't have but 16 clubs in the majors at that time, so if you didn't get in by the time you're 25, they just, so.
You'd sing the national anthem, or you'd entertain the crowd sometimes with a few songs, but in 1966, you signed a record contract with RCA Records.
Yes.
What was it like to be the first black country artist?
Now, before I answer that, let me get I told my wife I wasn't going to get, I'm long-winded, so I'm going to have to condense this down.
Yeah.
Okay.
You just mentioned about of color.
Right.
When I first started in this business, one reporter said, well, Charlie, how does it feel to be the Jackie Robinson of country music? I said, Charlie, how does it feel to be the first colored country singer? I said, Charlie, how does it feel to be the first Negro country singer? Charlie, how does it feel to be the first Afro-American country singer? Well, hold on. I feel the same way I did when I was colored.
We gotta go, Charlie.
Oh, my God. Thank you. Thank you. Listen, y'all have to watch the Great Performances presents Grammy Salute to Music Legends 2017 on PBS. Check your local listing times, and never forget, Charlie Pride is the thing. And have a great day. Take a little time to enjoy the view.
On New Year's Eve,